All right, good afternoon, everybody. This is Shay, and we're here with Inspired Online, and I'm delighted this afternoon to bring you the wonderful Nick Haines. Nick is the creator of the Five Institute, the Vitality Test. He's part of the Change Makers. He is the co-founder of the No More Boxes movement as well, and he's just an incredible person in terms of, well, the kindness that he exudes. Kindness is really one of his messages. But also with the tools that he's created, he's helped so many businesses, so many people in their lives to apply those all. So some of you are going to have seen my write-up about him a little bit earlier. But today is also officially the start of spring, the 21st of March. And I thought, who better to have on board than someone who can talk about these spring energies, who can talk about what's going on. And in true inspired style, we're also looking for, if you have any wisdom to share, what would be that wisdom that you share with the world? So Nick, I'll hand over to you and start with that question. If you had 10 minutes, but we're going to have a little bit longer today to share your wisdom with the world, what would you say?
Well, I think the thing I would say would be that over the last 12 years, look, energetically over the last 12 years, one of the things we've really been doing is being given lessons and shown things. And we get insights and we become inspired and we have moments of, oh yes, absolutely. But do we embody them and do we embed them in our lives, or are those learnings just lost? And so one of the things I'd really say is kind of look at the things that you have been learning and studying and doing over the last 5, 10, 12 years, however long you've been looking at this stuff, and think, okay, what are the key lessons I've learned? Because there is something about forgetting them at the moment because other stuff is coming in their place. But those very lessons that we have, particularly in this moment in time, are the things that will be getting you through. So that would be the first thing I would say. The second one is about the kindness. We're seeing at this time incredible acts of kindness. Lots of those are externally expressed. So one of the things, again, we should have been doing and looking at is looking at kindness, particularly how we treat ourselves, and particularly any past version of ourselves that didn't quite meet the perfect standard that our current version would like them to be. So it's those duality, it's that thing of learning and forgiveness and kindness. I think that's the central theme that's kind of running at the moment. And then all the Corona, the Chinese New Year, how it's impacted that's all happening at the moment as well. So, but okay. Is that an okay start?
Yeah, indeed. So what is going on? You mentioned Corona at the end. It's the topic on everybody's mind at the moment as we're housebound. So I know, let me frame that better. You've done lots of work around the 5 energies and the energies that human beings work with. So perhaps let's break this down. Say a little bit about the 5 energies and then we'll apply it to current times.
Okay. So the 5 energies, they come from ancient China. They were originated kind of 3,000-4,000 years ago in some of their finest form. And the majority of the information, they were applied to economics, human behavior, politics, warfare, education. They were applied everywhere in medicine, and most of that information was lost. And I've spent all my life, literally all my adult life, exploring those and bringing them back within the context of this modern world. And what they do is they allow us to both understand ourselves and other people, but also one of the things they were originally designed to do was to look at how things flow and look at how things move. So you have within them, you have the seasons as they move around, from water energy in winter to wood in spring to fire in summer to earth in late summer and metal into autumn. So we see that movement, but we also can see the movement within politics, the movement within economics. We can see the movement as the years progress and they move round. And what we're seeing is an unprecedented collection of long and short cycles interacting, giving us a particular moment in time. that we're experiencing now. There's a reason for that, but it's so a lot of the work I did at the end of the year, I did a lot of webinars looking at the year of the metal rat. It's a year that occurs once every 60 years, but it's occurring within a much bigger context, which is why we're seeing some of the stuff that we're seeing. I'm running webinars all the time at the moment on this, just to help people get a grip of what's going on. And it's not that complicated once you understand it, and the things you need to do and the things we need to remember are not that complicated. But it can be absolutely overwhelming for people, because it just seems, where did this come from? Woof. Well, it's been coming for a while. For example, before Christmas, I bought a roll of toilet paper because I knew. Seriously, you can tell. Seriously, I got.
This is the magic of your work. You know these things.
Well, the year we're in is a metal rat year. Metal energy, every energy is related to a particular organ of the body. Metal energy is related to the lungs and the large intestine. So we were going to see something lungy and large intestine arriving. Interestingly, we've got the lung thing with corona, but people are panicking about the large intestine thing.
Wow.
Somehow, some part of them knows that, oh my goodness, what is it? Because they're tapping into not just the metal energy of this particular year, but we've also entered a block of time that's 12 years, which is dominated by metal energy.
Wow.
And metal energy is about isolation, it's about loss, but it's also about saying, what do I value? What do we value? So something goes on at these times. So 1960 was the last time we had one of those years. That was in the context of 2 world wars. So what did they do in 1960? From the 60s onwards, there was an enormous shift to let go of the cultural grief that had come from 2 world wars. First World War with the devastation, Second World War. And in the 50s, between the 2 wars and in the 50s, the world was still grieving for the numbers that lost. Then the 60s arrived, 1960, first metal rat year, and suddenly there was about a letting go, a releasing, something going on about grief and loss. Our experience of metal energy is something going on about grief and loss. So we're worried, we're grieving the loss of our jobs and our identities and our world. We're having some stuff. Will we be grieving the loss of people? But we also have the ability to lose our old stories that have held us back like never before. We can shift stuff that in this previous block of time, which was an earth energy block of time, which was all about learning and understanding and community and coming together. We uncovered lots of stuff about ourselves and society, but we couldn't let go of the old ways of being. As soon as we hit this metal energy time with 12-year block and this year, we suddenly go, okay, we can start to let go of things that we could never let go of. It could be our stories, could be our belief system, but it could also be the way that we believe society is constructed, that we need to travel in aeroplanes and move things around. I mean, however much we ignored the Australia being on fire, the floods, the climate change, we just carried on doing. Whereas this moment does a reset. And also one of the things it shows up with metal energy, like I said, it's about loss, it's also about loneliness. So we have people that are isolated and have had to self-isolate for various different reasons, are experiencing isolation and loneliness, what it's like not to be hugged, what it's like not to connect with people. That we're experiencing that metal energy loneliness.
Yeah.
However, and what that is about, I think, to a large extent, is that, I mean, I have an elderly friend of mine who I was saying, oh, Mark, do be careful going out. She said, I would rather die than be any more lonely.
Yeah, I mean,
than I already am. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would rather die than be any more lonely than I already am. So we as outgoing beings, and in our world of doing things, we have no idea that there are great chunks of the world that feel totally isolated and alone, and that is their normal existence. So we're given this experience to look at and say, is that okay? Metal energy is also about grief, so it's very easy to get tearful. You can feel that, and
yes,
that's again why we need toilet paper. Because you just have to. You know what I mean? It's a time when we're seeing stuff, and
yes.
it's a time when we can make some very fundamental choices, because metal energy is also saying, what do I value? What is valuable to me, and what is my value in the world? Yes. So what do we value? So in the 1960s, they said we value peace and love because they'd come out of 2 world wars. We've come out of a period of time where we have seen incredible communities come together, like Inspired and our community. And we've seen incredible groups of people. We've seen an elevation in spirituality. We've seen its incredible growth. But we've also seen an inability to understand other people. So earth energy is also about understanding. We've seen an inability to understand other people and make them wrong. And so what we've done is we've gone tribal. We went with the left and the right, and these people are like this, and I'm like that. And we had a failure to understand, which is why Runa and I started the No More Boxes movement, which is saying, well, boxes are men are like this, women are like this, millennials are like this, Spanish are like this, Italians are like this, all those people in shithole countries like Africa. It's all boxes. We just put people in boxes, and we're human beings, and we don't deserve to live in boxes. We deserve to be free. That's where we were born, to be free, but we get put in boxes. So we had 12 years we had an incredible coming together around common beliefs. And that got tribal, because some people's common beliefs were that, and the other people's were that. And we just couldn't understand each other, so we went divisive and made people wrong.
Yeah. I
became part of the liberal elite. I became more white. I became more sensitive, which is and that was wrong. We had Brexit as a division. A polarity appeared at that time. So in the 60s, it was peace and love. In the equivalent year now, 1920, we're having an opening up of unity and the climate. Unity and big problems. How do we come together to deal with big problems? What would wake us up to that? Experiencing isolation, experiencing loneliness, questioning what we value, having the opportunity to let go of belief systems and ways of being like we've never been able to do before. That's all appearing at this moment in time. And lots of stuff is so in the webinar, I just talk about loads of the stuff and map it all out, how it's all playing, and then give advice as to what you need to do at this time.
Wonderful. And we will share some of the webinar links with this,
yes, share the links.
This chat as well. I will do that to all of you watching out there. And we have quite a few people that are tuned in at the moment. Someone's just commented kindness, hope and love. And yeah, lots of people captivated there. If you've got any questions for Nick, please do post them on the live and we will come to those.
Should we look at spring? Should we look at spring?
Let's look at spring. I was going to say, what's next? What are we getting ready for?
Well, there's a whole lot of stuff. There's a whole lot of stuff I can talk about what's next, but let's talk about spring because it's really interesting. It's a really interesting energy, and it can be. So obviously in the southern hemisphere, we're going into spring, which is wood energy. In the southern hemisphere, they're going into autumn, which is metal energy. So we have a different sort of stuff going on. In the northern hemisphere, where we're going into spring, it's related to wood energy. And wood energy in spring, it has a really interesting thing. It has wood energy has a you can see like a seed or a bud, or before it bursts out, there is an incredible tension, and then it goes. So you see spring building tension, and then it goes all over the place. Yeah. And people with a lot of wood energy are like that. They're incredibly they can be incredibly controlling, or they can just be absolutely all over the place. I won't show you my desk. I have a lot of wood energy.
Don't want to see mine either, don't worry.
Yeah, it could be a bit chaotic. We can be a bit, which is why I love the 5 energies, because it gets rid of some of that stuff and says, okay, I can see the patterns and the shapes of what's going on. So it gets rid of chaos for me. It gets rid of chaos for other people. But so this wood energy phase we're just moving into, because it's spring, it's the environment, we'll see 2 things happen. One is we'll initially see, ooh, this tension, this kind of trapped feeling. So we're experiencing, a lot of people are experiencing self-isolation. And then we've got the spring energy, which is going, oh my goodness, I'm feeling really, really trapped. I need to, what wood energy loves is exercise, movement, flow. That's what it's about. So people are going, oh, I need to get out, I need to exercise. Even tubby people like me that don't do a lot of exercise, I'm going,
you're still looking good, don't
perhaps I need to move a lot. But or what we can become is really, wood energy is also about incredible flexibility. So a piece of wood energy can be incredibly flexible until the point it can't cope anymore, and then it snaps. So it's people, a lot of wood energy will say, oh yes, that's absolutely fine, until it's not fine, and then they'll snap, and no one can see it coming. So one of the things that we'll see at this particular time is you're more likely to feel a bit tense and a bit tight at the beginning, and you're perhaps more likely to snap.
Okay.
So if we're living in close proximity, or there's tension and we've got under stress, just be aware you've got to get your energy moving. And we were talking about it on a different webinar, weren't we? And I was saying, I used to work with a lot of people with spinal injuries, and they were athletes that were paralyzed, and they were used to feeling good by exercising, and they can't because they're paralyzed from the neck downwards. So what we used to do was just do imaginary exercise, imaginary running, imaginary stuff, because our unconscious mind doesn't know the difference between real and imagined. So if you can't get out, just spend time sitting there, imagine that you're running and you're doing and you're being and and it will move that energy. But be aware that other people are also struggling with that tightness. Then what will happen is, once that moves, we'll suddenly have a bursting out of stuff. We may see a little bit of chaos, or you might feel a bit kind of, whoa, this is all over the place. Just bear with it. It'll calm down quite quickly, because within the bursting out and all over the place, what we have is the buds and the shoots and the things of something new. So what we'll see, we'll start to be able to see new things, new ways of doing things, new ways. We'll be more creative, more imaginative. But before that, it might be a little bit tight for a couple of weeks.
Only a couple of weeks. This is reassuring, actually.
Yeah, it's a couple of weeks. It's usually as spring builds, it gets a little bit. We want to start to control things and be a bit more controlling and have things. And we can also have our wood energy can rise, which is a worrying bit for me, because wood energy has a tendency to rebel and be rebellious. And particularly if you're saying, nobody can tell me what to do, don't like to be pushed around, don't like to be told what to do. Oh, nobody can do that, I'm free. They're always asking the question, am I free? Are we free? So our wood energy will rise a bit, and people say, well, nobody can tell me what to do. I'm going to go out and I was speaking to someone yesterday, and they were saying that their sister is just going to go on a plane and go somewhere because no one can tell her what to do. And
I can't imagine she'd get in anywhere at the moment.
Yeah, well, exactly. But just say, well, I'm not going out, I'm not stopping. And my friend was saying in Nottingham, the Wetherspoons was just packed with people. All were saying, well, this isn't gonna stop me. It's that rebellion that arises at this time, yes, or as a response to being told what to do. My only thing with that is that my wife's a nurse. She's working crazy hours.
God bless her. I mean, let's just take a moment to say God bless the NHS now, and all those key workers out there that keep going out and looking after us.
They are going out there. They're not having this luxury to reflect and this
No.
this kind of third world privilege, say, okay, I think I might be feeling a bit lonely. There are people that are trying to survive because they have nothing, and people that are having increased loneliness, and then there's the health workers and these auxiliary services that are doing incredible stuff. And then we have people that are trying to rebel against it. And what will they do? They will, if they become ill, they will arrive at the hospital. My wife or someone will have to look after them because they wanted to rebel. So find ways to rebel, just don't do it in ways that impacts other people. So think about how we can have a different world. Think about being creative. Think about different ways to rebel. Just don't rebel in a way that impacts other people, because it's just not okay to do that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean we need to be conformists. We can all still be rebels, and we can think differently. We can challenge the status quo, and we don't need to be conformists, but we do need to be kind. And we do need to be really kind, because other people are exhausting themselves, putting their life at stake in order to make you okay. So be kind to them. And our joyful thing is that rats have lots of qualities, but one of their qualities, as well as hoarding, when they think when there's not too much going on, that's a rat quality. Metal energy is always a sense there's not enough, so we hoard, there's not enough. But they're also highly versatile, but they're also very, very kind. So we've got high levels of being very versatile and being very resourceful. And we've also got enormous amounts of kindness. This is the kindest year, which seems strange. A rat year, they're kind years.
Wow.
And have we seen kindness, Shay? Have we? It's just been
incredible.
We have,
actually. Yeah, it's outpouring is amazing.
That's our rattiness. So is there ever a good time to have a pandemic like Corona? No, absolutely not. Is this the best year to have it? Absolutely. Completely the best year to have it, because we can release, we can let go, we can check into things, we can be resourceful, we can be resilient, we can be kind. Rats also reproduce quickly, so what a surprise. we're seeing something reproduce quickly. They're also very quick. It's a busy year.
Busy in a whole other way in about 9 months' time right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, exactly. We may well see a little bit of
baby boom. Yeah, one of my doctor friends is actually saying we were expecting a little bit of a baby boom.
Yeah. But rat years, it's lots of things reproduce. Yeah.
Well, there we go. I wanted to take it back to like the core of your work, because it's been really interesting to talk about what's going on right now. But I just, a lot of people watching out there today are not going to have been familiar with your work before. So I'm going to ask you this question in this way. What would you want your legacy to be?
What would I want my legacy to be? Well, I have my central kind of purpose core thing is that I want everybody in the world to have someone that's there for them. So that's my core thing. I want everybody in the world to have someone that's there for them. And how do I think that can happen? Well, I think that can happen through kindness, increasing kindness, of kindness to yourself, kindness to others, and kindness to the planet. I think we can do it that way around. I also think we can, if we can understand ourselves and what makes us brilliant, what challenges us, what we fear, what we rise to, and what would the highest version of us look like, which is what we do with the vitality test and the work of the 5 Institute. What does the highest version of me look like? If the highest version of us stood up and raised up and acted out in the world, what would the world look like? Would we have people that have nobody there for them? I don't think so. So our whole work is about empowering people, helping understand people, creating unity. We do relationship stuff. It's all about how do we come together, rise up and deal with that stuff in kind of unity and kindness. And we have tons of tools. It's why the vitality test is free, just because we want everybody to start to enter this place where they can say, hey, you know what? I'm like this, and this is damn good. And I'm like this, and I need to watch out for this bit of me.
It's beautiful.
So,
and I was just going to say, actually, for those of you out there watching, you can go to Nick's website. We'll give you the details at the end. And it is free of charge. So, you know, while we're all at home, find out your energy type.
Yeah, and we've got all these webinars we're running at the moment, kind of looking at your energy. We're just about to do a really interesting one. Where we're doing the ones in the new year, conscious questions, enlightened eating. We've got lots and lots of stuff. But we're doing a really interesting one of practicing stepping into another energy.
Lovely.
So, Shay, you've got lots of kind of fire energy, excited. Blah, 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 blah. What would it look like if you spent some time exploring another energy? What would that look like? So I have 0 water energy, and water energy thinks about long-term, thinks about consequences. So I'm going to spend a bit of time setting in that energy and thinking, okay, what are the consequences of this thing? What are the consequences of me saying yes to everything? On a Saturday afternoon, Shay says, do you want to do a webinar? I go, yes. That was my fire energy. My passion said yes. My water energy never came into it. What are the consequences of that? Well, we transform the world. That's good consequence. Very happy with that.
That is.
But so it's a matter of playing it out, how it will be. If I did that every single day, what would happen to me and my reserves? Would it be kind to me? So we're just going to step in and out of different energies.
Can you give me some examples, or give us some examples of like a typical question of what each energy might ask itself?
Yes.
So
okay.
Yes.
So water energy, what we have there related to winter, the question we've got a lot of water energy, you're always asking, is it safe? Am I safe? And sometimes what you'll do is you'll set up lots of scenarios to try and find the answer to that question.
Right.
So Richard Branson has lots of water energy. So he's protecting the safety of the Virgin brand, the safety of this, the safety of that. His big things like airlines. Why do we fly on airplanes? Because they make us feel safe, finance. He also has some fire energy with his entertainment stuff, but he does lots and lots of safety stuff. And what did he do when he was younger? He used to just travel he went into outer space in a hot air balloon to find the answer to, am I safe? Is it safe? We test it.
Wow. Good stuff.
Yeah, so
I've
we
got
kind of we do that
in the background here, by the way.
Oh yeah, I can see it, Nick. I
For those
just saw
of you that are wondering.
Yeah, that's what that kind of prompted me.
Yeah.
And other people might do extreme sports. Whereas if you have a lot of wood energy, your big question is, am I free? Are we free? So you're going to explore how free you could be with your work, for example. Or you might say something outrageous just to see whether or not you have the freedom of speech. Or you might be promoting. You see lots of laptop entrepreneurs and they say, the most important thing, the thing we all want is freedom. No, it isn't. Some people want routine and some people want safety. They want freedom. And that's fine, but that is not how. So let me help you design a life to have the ideal life that you want. Let's set you free. Well, I don't want to be set free. I want to be safe. Or fire energy. Their big question is, am I loved, and do I bring joy? So they don't care about safety or just, do I bring joy? Do I bring warmth to the world? Do I bring smiles? Do I have? And you and I, we've got lots of kind of fire energy. Is that the stuff we do?
Yeah, that question is probably the most, they're prevalent for me out of the questions that you're going to say. And that's why I think sometimes knowing these questions helps you, know where you sit, even though you can do the test for yourself. But it also, it's a validation almost, because you think, there's other people that think that too.
Yeah. And we kind of, people like us with a lot of fire energy, we're all the time kind of go, oh, I love you too, because we're wanting that thing, aren't we?
Yeah.
Whereas I remember I had a metal energy girlfriend, and I said to her, I love you, and she said, yes, I know, you told me last month. That's the
Wow,
thing.
that's
Oh yeah,
romantic.
sorry. That one didn't work out.
Yeah.
Whereas
This is
two fire types just go, I love you too, love you too. It's quite sickening, but they're very happy in that world.
good. I like that.
Earth energy is do I understand and am I understood? So this is a really tricky time for fire energy. We can find ways to be joyful, but earth energy, do I understand and am I understood? It's really stressful because lots of people really don't understand what's going on. It's my third. I've got three energies equal, so my third energy is earth energy. So I'm all the time trying to help people understand what's going on, because it's really stressful if you don't get what's going on. And when we're under stress, our immune system drops down. So once you understand your question, then you can understand, okay, this is my stress, and you can do some things about it. It's also my gift and my brilliance. Then metal energy, their big question is what's missing, what's incomplete, what isn't done, what's missing. They have a really hard time because all the fire types sold the world on positive thinking. You need to be happy, positive thinking, that's the way to be, that's the way to live. The laptop millionaires, they sold it all about freedom. The water types like Tony Robbins talked about, it's all about purpose.
Yes.
We're all selling, I think, the earth energy, they do the thing, oh no, it's all about communities and being together. Fire energy, metal energy, they say, yeah, but this is missing. And everyone goes, oh God, there you are, bringing the whole conversation down. We were all positive, and I had a brilliant idea, and you just said you haven't thought of this, you negative person. Hard life to live, but it is their genius to say, I know everybody's done all this thing, and I know you're really excited, but you forgot to put your trousers on.
Well, we kind of need them too, right?
Yeah, we do. And I had someone I used to work with, lots of metal energy, and they were off poorly, and we were running an event, and she said, oh, shall I come in? Her mother had died. I said, no, a lot of metal energy, grief is a big issue. I said, no, you just grieve, be that thing. I'll be 100% okay. I arranged everything about the event, but I forgot to book chairs. So I had 120 people there and no chairs. And she said to me, well, didn't you think to do that? Didn't you think what was missing? I said, no, I didn't think what was missing. I was just very excited that all these people were coming. So they're great at saying, you haven't done this is missing, whatever. But they get a hard time with it. But they are the gift at this moment in time, saying, we're missing this, guys. We need to think about it like this. They have the ability to detach and step out and say, I see something bigger here. I see the value. I see the challenge. I see the loneliness. I see the grief. I see it all. So we're in a metal phase. But are they popular from a personal development, positive thinking point of view? Ooh, no, they're not. They're given a very hard time. They're told to cheer up and be more positive.
But we need them. We need them
but
as well. We need everybody. Yeah.
We need us all. Yeah. Anyway, that was a quick run through of the energies.
Lovely. I'm just going to have a look and see if we've got any questions. We've just got a lot of people watching, actually. I think, again, they're all fascinated. Chris is saying that's beautiful. Right, I don't know. What else have we got? Yeah, it's resonating with people. What about fire and air? But we've talked about that as well. So yeah, okay, if you have any questions, obviously this is your last chance to post them up, but I'm going to ask you, have you got any final thoughts you'd like to share with our audience today?
Final thought. I'll go back to my original thing about learning. We're in this phase to notice, rats are very observant, to notice what it is that we should have embraced within our learning. Is also a metal energy phase. So my advice would be, look for what's missing in this world and in this life, and rise up and create a situation where we can deal with what's missing. And what's missing might be equality. What's missing might be safety for people. What's missing might be what we're deciding to value. But this is a time to look for what's missing, not from a negative point of view, but from a very positive point of view, to say, if we can put in this world what's missing for other people and for ourselves, then we just dramatically change the world.
Fabulous.
So look for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time today. Before you go, I'm going to ask you to tell our audience how could they connect with you, and obviously we will share your links as well, but just give us a quick rundown on how people can find you if they would like to.
Okay, so if they want to, they can email me at nick@5institute, F-I-V-E, institute.com. They can go to the 5institute.com website where they'll find the vitality test. There's also an events page there with tons of free webinars and resources we're doing about this Chinese year, other things we're supporting. And then we have a Facebook group, and just put in the vitality test. And there's a wonderful community there we call ourselves the Better Together Club, because we have we look after each other. So if you want to be part of something great, then join that. So those are the things. And then there is also No More Boxes, the No More Boxes, which you'll find them on Facebook, but you can also go to the nomoreboxesmovement.com, and that's really fascinating work. And that's, again, it complements everything we do and looks at unity as well. So
fabulous. And we actually have your No More Boxes co-founder coming on next Saturday. This is purely by accident.
Do you? Runa.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I've got I had Ariel Ford on last night, so for those of you that missed it, go check out the video on our website. But I've got her husband coming on next Friday, and now we do the Saturday. So we've got you, and then we've got your work wife joining us next
work wife,
Saturday.
Runa.
There you go.
Yeah.
So she's fabulous as well.
Oh, fantastic. And we are each Friday morning at 9 o'clock UK time, and then 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we're running a No More Boxes drop-in thing. And email me and I'll tell you all about to get you an invite for that. And that is fantastic.
Fabulous.
That's about reducing your stress at this moment in time. People
Wonderful.
love it.
Well, I'm going to say goodbye to our little Facebook family. We're going to switch off the live shortly.